Episcopal district. So I am going to go back and record it. Okay. So under where your name is at, then the splash cover, then you'll see the link for my.yap.us/CMEGC26. That's the app ID. Okay. Underneath that is notification settings. And if you haven't done it already, because most of you probably have been in these sessions, it will ask you the question, what pages can send you push notifications? And announcements is one, social feed is another category, and upload pics. So right now, I mean, unless you've activated those three categories, they should be grayed out. To activate it, just slide that little um, circle or activate the setting, move it to the right for all three categories if you haven't done so already. And that's will allow you to the the pages that can will be sent what pages can send you push notifications, announcements, social feeds, upload pics. And then at the bottom there's interact with my post. You know, there's likes and comments there. I have likes and comments. Then there's comments only or none. So my check mark is for me, just as the administrator, is likes and comments. Or you can, do comments only or not. But this is for people who really want to interact with the General Conference YAP app. Okay. And as you all could see, if I've demonstrated in previous meetings, which most of you all have been there, it just takes me a minute or so to upload the any changes to the Yapp app, and I'll show that shortly, and they're done. Let me go back to our training sessions. This is the last one. And then we have the last training session for the parliamentary procedure workshop. So it is 4:25 and I'm doing good. And now let me close off that for a second. Let me show you the Yapp uh, interface. So let's see, I'm sharing. I want to make sure I share this. Okay. So this is where I go in and make my edits. And as you could see there, we've had close to almost 1,200 installations of the Yapp app, which is great. All of our delegates who will be here should already have the Yapp app installed on their mobile device, whether it's a cell phone, iPad. It's good to be on there. I get a chance to edit the app here. I can look at analytics here. I can see, gosh, 17,000 views, information that's there. The device installs, it would break it down to me for iOS and, Android devices, which is really good. Here in the editor, I can go in and make changes to the Yap app, which I'll do right now since we're almost at the end of training. So I can go to my announcements um, and uh, I don't want to go there. Let me go to training sessions. Some of these I have to change from my mobile device. So let me do that. Announcements. Okay, here we go. So I will change this one out to, let's see. All right, here we go. And let me just download this photo real quick. Uh, okay. And then let me post it on the app. And then we'll be good to go. Copy. All right. All righty. So get back here and change this and paste it. Yay. All right. Same here. Need to get rid of it. Okay, there. And I think that's it. I'm gonna save it. And there we are. All right. And so now they should be updated. The announcements should be updated. And now you should see under announcement, final training sessions are being held tonight, Tuesday, June 2nd. You see that it was edited a minute ago?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if there was anything that I needed to change here, let's see, we've got 30 minutes. That's a good enough time for voting. Um, I can make the changes here. Um, let me see if I can do here. Facebook. And we have change this, CAO. All right. And then let's see if she's got any new, what is this? Insider alert. Nah, I don't see anything. Uh, Here, let's go. Oh, I see. I see. Uh, Here, let me put that here on her page. Edit. Let's see if I can put that right here. Uh, I can do this. Move this up here. I'll make this bold. Need to put that here. Yeah. Save the page. All right, and then I'll push it out. Let's see. Put it here.
Dr. Duhart, I'm sorry to
Yes.
interrupt, but several people done text and call me saying that they're trying to get into your meeting. Is it
My
training?
I have no waiting. Disabled the waiting room. It's open. And I'll
Okay,
come out of this for just a second. Let me stop sharing. Uh,
okay.
my host tools, I don't have.
Dr. Duhart, I'm getting the same message from several people as well. The message that they're getting says the host has locked the meeting. That's what the message says.
Okay. Now I have unlocked it.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you. I was wondering what you guys talking about. I disabled it, but I must have locked it. Let me cancel that. Uh, I must have locked it somehow. All right. So this is the new. This is new, and then I'm going to put new here. And then just do this, and then I'll save the page, and then I'll publish it.
She looked at you and
And once I publish it, you can. I usually come out of my Yap app, and if I go back in again, it will say update available.
okay.
An update for the 2026 CME General Conference is available. Do you want to load the newer version? I said load update. I click on load update, and the page that I updated was from the CAO, and their survey is at the end. Okay, so that was the new item, but I just wanted to show you all um, about how quickly how the Yap app will be updated. And um, as I close the topic on the Yap app and see if there's any questions, just want to let you know that during the general conference, if there are any updates to be added, check your Yap app constantly because announcements may go over the Yap app along with on-screen announcements. And if there's any updates for meeting rooms, they may be announced over, the mic, put on the screen, as well as on the conference Yap app as well. There'll be other documents that will be forthcoming on the Yap app as well during the general conference. So it's going to be really important that we have our Yap app available to us. You keep your phones charged during the general conference session. Okay. And then we will also be sending out text messages via Blue if we have to reach people. I mean, Yap app will reach all of our delegates and alternates, but text messages will as well. So it may be two modes of communication, digital communication, along with the mics and screens on site at the Hilton Anatole Convention Center. Okay. Questions? Questions about the Yap app? Do you have any questions for me? Okay.
Dr. Duhart, I do have a question. Um, you mentioned that you registered your name. How did you do that on your Yap app? I can't find it.
Um, I'm gonna go back now. Because I was the admin, I registered it. But generally, when I signed up, I would put my email address in. I mean, I put my profile in, which was generally my name, first name, last name. There's bio information, but I did put my name in when I signed up for it. How did the rest of you all put your information in?
I didn't have to put in any information. I just put the code in and I uploaded the app.
Right, but some of you all, particularly in the Seventh Episcopal District, have already used um, the conference app. You've used not conference app. You've used Yapp app. I see two people who raised their hands. I can't see who you are, but go ahead and speak, please.
This is Shelley Poe. I'm from the fifth. At the top of the screen, like on the screen where it has the splash announcement of the Yap app,
Mm-hmm.
and it has like blue and green, and it says Yap.
Mm-hmm.
To the left, there's a little human head. If you click there, there's a place for you to create a profile or to sign up, and that would probably be where you would do that.
All right, I have it. Thank you so much.
Edit account, change password, log out. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because I have had it for so long. Um, I've taken tips from persons who have been in, other Episcopal districts, particularly the seventh, who have used it. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? I see Reverend Tony Langhorn.
Yes, this is Pastor Langhorn from Stuart Isom in the Fifth Episcopal. Got a question related to the updates. I clicked on OK pretty fast, and I didn't see whether or not it tells you where the updates are in that little message.
They don't. It doesn't. It just said load updates.
Okay.
And so, yes, you can load it. And what I'll try to do is in, like, for instance, under program and schedule, updated. I may say updated program and schedule as of May 14th. Okay, I may say that. In the one that I just updated for the CAO, I really put that was the only thing I updated. Well, there was another one. There was another one. At the end of the from the CAO, there's information about a quick survey that's there. Okay, and then finally, under announcements, I just put in there a little note, final training sessions are being held tonight, Tuesday, June 2nd. Those were the announcements that I put in there. That helps. But no, it doesn't identify it. I have to identify it, but to that end, under announcements, it would tell you how long ago it was edited. At least it says it from my end. Now, as an administrator, it might be a different look on your end. If you guys go to announcements, what do you see from Dr. Teresa Duhart 10 minutes ago? Do you see that edited?
I saw the final training update.
Yes, that's there.
announcement.
Now, if I go to from the CAO, I just put under there new, and I can go in and put like new and put the date, so that way you'll know what's new when it was actually added. Okay, but otherwise, no, you won't know what pages have been updated unless I specifically include it in the update.
Okay.
Okay. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions on the Yapp app?
Dr.
Okay.
Duhart, Dr.
Yes.
Duhart, I
Uh-huh.
do have a question, and I want to thank that last person that brought this up because I see my name, I see my email address, and it's on that same page where it has edit account or change password. That's an incorrect email address for me. So if I were to, and I hope this is not going to sound ignorant, but if I were to change that to the email address that I use, would you be able to see my update? I mean, would you be made aware? Do I need to do more than what I see on this page?
You're fine. Um, Basically, I'm not sending
And
an email through Yapp app This is just purely information. Now, if you need to change your email, you need to let the registrar know. And then
Okay.
she will let me know, because that's how we're going to be able to contact people, either through text messages. The Yap app is, that'll be fine. And if all else fails, it'll be an email. Sometimes they want emails. Our leadership wants emails to be sent out.
Okay.
So you'll need to let us know if you have a new email address. But on here, you can update your email address and all of that. I'm really not checking that, because actually there's some information I can see in the Yap as an admin.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
I hope
Thank
that
you.
helps. I hope that
It
helps.
does. Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. Okay. We're 4:43 in. I have 17 minutes before the next session starts, and I am going to go ahead and start the speaker queue system and voting at the general conference session. I want to make sure my speakers are set just right. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and begin on the speaker queue system and voting at the general conference. So this portion of the training session provides an overview of the voting at the general conference, as well as using the speaker queue system. And many persons who served as delegates and alternates at not only the 2022 general conference in Cincinnati, Ohio, but also in 2018 in Birmingham, Alabama, we use the same company or vendor, Option Technologies, to provide the speaker queue system and the voting electronic devices. And now we'll just look at the speaker queue system, which you'll see here on the left-hand side of that photo. And then on the right-hand side is the option finder, the electronic voting device will start here. So the speaker queue system, again, will be used at the general conference. And just basic information, the speaker queue system is really just a suite of web-based software tools that work with computers, tablets, and smartphones to help the chairpersons of our meetings, general conference meetings, which is the designated bishop who is presiding over that meeting, manage multiple requests to speak. Okay. And the speaker queue conference system will capture, timestamp, and effectively manage multiple requests to speak so that each request is properly addressed in priority order and the debate process is fair and orderly. Now, along with the training that's being held after this session by Dr. Campbell on parliamentary procedure, there will also be handouts and a little training and cheat sheets made available to our leaders, delegates, and alternates, orderlies, and CIT persons who will be assisting to ensure that the system is user-friendly and easy to use. So you'll see that the speaker queue system, it will consist of an iPad on a stand, and it will also consist of screens that show the order of the speaker queue system and where persons who are logged in or who acknowledge that they're there to speak, for resolution against it or whatever they are voting on. That information will be shown on the screen. We will also have a video that has been prepared by Option Technologies for us to view a little bit later. Okay, so this is basically the speaker recognition speaker queue system that will be at microphones on the iPads. And basically, you would just go up to that iPad. Every delegate, alternate, every person who's registered for the general conference will have a 6-digit badge ID number. Okay, and that badge ID number has been generated by Option Technologies, and that badge number will coincide with the name of that delegate and alternate. Okay, and then you will just type in your 6-digit number, and then you would go and identify the category that you wish to address, what you're there for, to speak for or against a motion, resolution, point of order, motion to amend, move or second a main motion, move the previous question, terminate debate, move to refer, table, postpone, point of parliamentary inquiry or information, point of privilege, want to suspend the rules, call for the order of the day. Once you select what you're there to, speak on, then you submit your request to speak, and boom, you're in the system. And we'll see a video later that will demonstrate this. Voting at the General Conference, we will again use electronic handsets to register our votes quickly and accurately. Option Finder polling system will help facilitate our meeting using wireless voting keypads and balloting exercise. So the wireless keypads will be used for voting, including the election of bishops, general officers, and the Judicial Council members. Option Technology teams oversaw the voting process in the last 2 general conferences, and they're also at other our sister Methodists. They're used at our other sister Methodist denominations, United Methodist Church, AME, and AME Zion Church. And so this system has been selected to expedite the voting process, which includes electing candidates, as we said, for the bishops, general officers, and judicial council. They'll have assigned numbers, and we'll also be voting on motions and amendments. And the key purpose of voting electronically is to be able to reduce the amount of time involved in making these important selections, and also increase the accuracy of the balloting process. All votes will remain private, and that's really key. And then I have a sample here of the numbers that were used, the 3-digit numbers that were used for our candidates at the this is the episcopacy candidates at the 2020-22 General Conference. There is a photo of Option Finder, the device that we'll be using. And then to the right, I have the Alaska Pacific region. That's my region. And I took a picture of the sample devices that were handed out by the orderlies. And by the way, we do have our head orderly who will oversee the orderlies at the General Conference, Reverend Patsy Washington. She's on here. Reverend Washington, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
Okay. So now we have a video, and I know we have 10 minutes left. And I think this video is about 4 minutes. I will start it, but I want to make sure that you can hear it through my headphones and not my system. So give me just a second here. Let me start it. Before I start, I just want to say that in order to conduct business meeting sessions decently and in order, the delegates and alternates will have a process for engaging in discussion on the floor, and it's called that request to speak, or the speaker queue system. And of course, it's following parliamentary procedure according to Robert's Rules of Order. And we will use, again, the electric system for voting. And so this video has been prepared by our vendor regarding the speaker queue system and electronic voting. And let's make sure that it's right.
During the General Conference business session,
can you hear that? Can everyone hear that?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could. Okay, and now we'll turn my. Okay, and here we go.
During the General Conference business session, delegates will use a speaker request system to signal to the presiding bishop when they wish to participate in the debate. The system will allow the presiding bishop to see all requests and recognize delegates with different types of requests using parliamentary rules of order. When a delegate wishes to speak, you will use an iPad on a floor stand located near your seat to signal your request. It's a simple three-step process. First, you will identify yourself by entering the delegate number on your name badge and confirm your name. Second, you'll select the purpose of your speech from the list of items on the screen. For example, you may wish to speak for an item. You may wish to speak against an item. You may make a point of order or another type of parliamentary request. Once you've made your selection, the third step is to click the button, Submit My Request to Speak. Your request will be confirmed and immediately transmitted to the bishop. The entire process takes about 15 seconds, and all requests are recorded with the timestamp. A control system operating near the bishop's position will gather and tabulate all the requests. The bishop can monitor requests and recognize delegates fairly and efficiently. During normal debate, the presiding bishop may alternate between speakers who wish to speak in favor of a motion and delegates who wish to speak against a particular motion. Delegates who wish to raise a point of order or ask a question as a point of information can signal those requests. The bishop is able to recognize speakers based on the nature and priority of their requests. The digital speaker request system allows for the name of each delegate to be displayed publicly and includes a timer to keep track of how long each delegate has been speaking. The speaker request system will help the conference achieve a more efficient and orderly parliamentary debate process. Delegates will use electronic voting devices to cast their votes during the 2024 General Conference. During each business session, the leader of your district delegation will issue you a voting handset. This device is a secure two-way transceiver. You'll want to make sure that your device is turned on. When you see characters on the screen, the device is powered on and should stay on during the entire meeting session. There's a power button in the lower right corner. If you need to turn on your device at any time, just hold this button for 1 or 2 seconds. There will be an opportunity to practice voting during the meeting. The presiding bishop will provide verbal instructions and share some practice questions. The voting procedure is simple. When the presiding bishop calls for a vote, he or she will review the article or motion under consideration and indicate an electronic vote is about to occur. The presiding bishop will then indicate that the voting period has begun by saying, "Please vote now." If you want to vote yes, you'll press the number 1 on your device. If you want to vote no, you'll press the number 2 on your device. If you want to abstain, press the number 3 on your device. You'll have 60 seconds to vote. When you vote, the system will display a text-based confirmation message on your handset. If you voted yes, the display will say yes received. If you voted no, the display will say no received. You can change your mind during the 60-second voting period. To do that, simply press another choice. 1 for yes, 2 for no, or 3 for abstain. The last selection you enter during the voting period will be recorded as your vote. If you have a problem with your handset, please contact the marshal for your district. They'll exchange your device. The system is very reliable, and that should not be necessary, but we're prepared.
Okay. And that is it. Are there any questions on voting? Any questions? No questions? Well, I do want to thank everyone for attending. I know that it's we got 3 minutes until the next session. You can download the presentation here, and I am going to put it. Let me just stop sharing. Uh, I will put this information in the chat. You can download the PDF file. Uh, and I had a PowerPoint as well. If there are no other questions, I wish to thank everyone for, I will put the PowerPoint in here too, in case you need to show it or review it. I will do that as well. And I am going to end this session. I want to thank everyone, certainly for taking time out of your busy schedule. And I know you're waiting for the main session, which is parliamentary procedure. And so that will start momentarily. Is Dr. Campbell on? Let's see.
Yes, not to
Hi
worry.
there. Great. Um, I need to momentarily help a webinar that's on. So, Reverend Washington, can I ask you, can I make you a co-host for now?
Sure.
Okay, I just need to pop out and pop back into it to the
Okay.
meeting. Okay, so let me make you as co-host. Um, uh, all right. Are you able?
Yes, it's
Okay,
me.
good.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, meanwhile, Dr. Campbell, if you'll just allow me 1 minute to make a phone
Of course.
call to Sharon Doss. They have another webinar going on for Connection of Music and Arts Ministry, and I've got to
Of
help
course.
you. So just give me 1 minute and I'll be pulling up your presentation as well.
Okay.
All right. Mute.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
He hasn't made it back yet.
Hello. Okay.
You're
Hello.
here.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
If you would hold 1 second, please, all of you. Just continue to mute your phones. Okay, thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Hello. Good evening.
She's handling some other business. Please hold on.
Thank you.
You calling you back?
Greetings.
Greetings.
Can you hear me? Okay. Can, I would like to ask everybody to mute because we hear noise. So if you can mute.
Yes. Continue to mute.
Thank you. Some people haven't muted yet.
Let me go ahead and mute those that I see here.
Okay, thank you.
Let me mute my other.
Okay.
Okay.
No, it's still some noise.
Ladies and let me see.
Meetings for our last prayer meeting before General Conference. We ask God that as we come and submit the names, concerns of those that we preside over, others that we are heirs.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
We pray for Bishop Reddick as he is preparing to join us at Summit Boy as the schedule allows.
Hello.
And we pray for every presiding elder that's assembled and the sound of my voice. We thank you for.
Okay. May I present to you Dr. Barbara Campbell, who is going to lead us in the next discussion. Dr. Campbell.
All right. Thank you, Sister Washington. I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. I am delighted to do part parliamentary procedure. Before we begin, I would like to ask for a member of this group to lead us in prayer. Let's lead us in a brief prayer. We've got prayer warriors on this line. So would someone lead us in a brief prayer, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord God, we just come before your throne this evening, Lord, just thanking you for allowing us to assemble, Lord, to handle the business of our General Conference for this year, learning how to do things correctly. We just asking you to bless everyone that is on this line tonight. Bless them, Lord, and whatever they stand in the need of, oh Father God. We just saying, bless the facilitator, oh Father God. Just rain down your fresh anointing on her and all of our ears, Lord, that we may open up our ear gates, that we may hear and receive, Father God. We just say thank you. We thank you, Lord, for all that you're doing, have done, and will do. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. And who did the prayer? Who was praying? Did you
My
state
name
your
is
name?
Sheila Atkins from Florida, Sarasota, Florida.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate how you volunteered and helped us get this meeting started because we cannot start without prayer. So thank you so much. We'll begin by saying this is the third session, and I'm going to start with a few things that even the first and second session didn't hear. I'm going to begin. All of us on this call are in some form or fashion a leader, either in your steward board, your pastorate, your Christian education. So I want to share that I think every leader needs to have a gavel and the little thing that you tap the gavel on so it doesn't come out hollow. The gavel really controls the meeting and the order of the meeting. I think if you watch any of those judge shows, you'll always see them with the gavel. And hopefully our chairs will use a gavel at this meeting. And I'm going to share with you briefly the use of the gavel. If you tap one time, it informs the members to be seated and that we're getting ready to get started. You should also use the gavel to announce the results of a motion. You would say, motion carries, motion fails. No, you always see that with judge shows. And then the third thing we use the gavel for, if you're going to adjourn the meeting, you would say, meeting is adjourned. Now, those are three simple things that you need to know. And hopefully, our leadership would do that in the meeting. And hopefully, you would do it when you get back home. So, we're going to do one tap to say, be seated. We're getting ready to get started. And one way to get the meeting started is for everybody to be quiet. But if someone is talking to you, just look straight ahead. Don't converse. So they'll get the signal and then they'll stop talking. So the next use of the gavel is to tap twice. That means getting ready to call the meeting to order. One tap, we're getting ready to sit down, quit conversing. Two taps, we're getting ready to start the meeting. And if you do three taps, it's usually for us to stand up, like maybe President Obama walks in, and so we'll all stand. Pledge to the Bible or the flag that we do. Amen. There's three. Now, if there's a lot of noise in the room, the chair should tap the gavel, a series of taps. And you need to hear that means we need to get in order. Stop what you're doing. Was that clear to everyone? I can see a lot of you, so you can nod your head or give me
Yeah.
the signal. Okay, thank you. And hopefully you will use it. When I became president of my real estate board, I received a gavel that was engraved with my theme on it and a name. When Clifford Harris was our chair, I gave him a gavel engraved. So I hope you all would start using the gavel for order. Even in your small meetings, be quiet, stop talking, Use your gavel. That's what it's for. Now, I want to say, I really appreciate Dr. Duhart preceding me. Last general conference to at the beginning of the meeting to use the electronic voting for motions and things. And then one of the leaders changed it. Let's be consistent in our meetings because people really quit voting. They quit raising their hand. They quit saying how it just stops to the point that the chair actually said, "Are you still here?" So let's keep what we've learned today. Leaders of each of our annual conferences have been on at least one of the calls conducted by Dr. Duhart so that they can assist someone. And if they didn't come, hopefully they will get the information that she put in the chat that they can utilize. I'm going to share a few presiding phrases because I know we have some of the leadership on the call tonight. When you open the meeting, the presiding phrase would be, "The meeting will come to order." When the chair wants to recognize a member, when you go to the queue, your name is in there. When you go to the mic, you're going to state your name. I would say, "I'm Dr. Barbara Campbell." You're going to state your Episcopal district. "I'm from the 6th Episcopal District." You're going to state your region. "I'm from the Georgia North Conference." That gives our recording secretary a complete contact information for the minutes. So next, if you make a motion, if there's no second to the motion, the chair doesn't have to say the motion died for lack of a second. The chair simply says, "Since there was no second, the motion is not before the meeting. The next item of business is," chair just goes right on. Make it smooth, just go smoothly. If there's no second, remember, and I may repeat this later on, the only reason you have a second is to see if someone else wants to hear it. That's why you get a second. And we normally say the motion dies, but we really should be saying the motion is not before us for lack of a second. And that's why we don't need a second when it comes out of committee, because someone actually has already heard it and wanted to hear it. Okay. If the motion is second, the chair would say it is moved and seconded and state the question so that you can hear it. I'll insert this at this point. You cannot say "so moved." If you say "so moved," you're out of order. And the chair should simply say to you, "I need someone to make a motion, or you need to restate it so that it is a motion." And if you're making a motion, you will not say, "I make a motion." You are not making a motion. You are the maker of the motion. You are trying to move something. You're trying to move an action. That's why you say, "I move." So those are very critical things to say. A lot of times the chair calls for a motion and somebody in the delegation says, "So moved." It's out of order. And any of you can go to the mic if the chair does not acknowledge it and say, "Mr. Chairman" or "Madam Chair," that was not a motion. Okay? Any questions on that? Just if you have questions in the chat, I think I have 2 people monitoring the chat so I can go back and answer. Okay, if you have a motion, it's made properly, it's seconded, then you're going to have debate. The chair may this, and the chair may entertain, as we heard earlier, 1 affirmative and 1 opposed. In that order. They may decide we're going to do 2 affirmative or 2 opposed. They can establish that as they preside at the meeting. Then we can take a vote by voice vote, aye, nay. We can raise our hands. In some cases, we can stand up. And then the chair will announce the results of the motion. But before the chair has you to vote on the motion needs to be restated. Because after a lot of debate, sometimes you've forgotten what was the motion. So it needs to be restated. If the chair chooses, the chair can simply ask the secretary, please read the motion. It is critical that you know what you are voting on. I've heard people in the delegation say, what did we just vote on? If you didn't hear it, you need to ask. And you may go to the microphone if it's not done and say, Mr. Chairman or Madam Chairman, could the motion be restated? But that is Robert's Rule of Order, that it should be restated before you vote. So some of these things you can just take notes on and remember it, because a lot of these things that I'm repeating to you, we have already violated. But when we go to this general conference, we're going to be in order because we've had 3 sessions on Robert's Rule. Now, at the end, when we vote, the chair may say, are you ready for the question? The question is the motion. When the chair says, are you ready for the question? Don't say question. That's the motion. Is that clear? That is the motion. So the chair simply says, seeing no one at the mic, I'm going to put the motion to a vote. Okay. So when you hear question, when he says, are you ready for the question? Say to yourself now, the question is the motion. And now we have before you our agenda, the rules that govern the business session for this general conference. The rules. Now you need, next slide will be, you need 2 documents, really 3 for this next session. You need your CME discipline and your Robert's Rule of Order 12th edition. If you look in your last year's general conference, you'll see it says the 11th edition. This time we should have the 12th edition. Now, not a whole lot changes in Robert's Rule, but this is the correct edition that you should have for Robert's Rule. It should be the 12th edition because last time we used the 11th edition. And you should have your discipline because a lot of references are going to be made tonight to the discipline. So those are 2 things you would have. All right, the certification of the delegates. I'm going to go over the organization. Next slide, please. I think last time I did this presentation, there was a question about the certification of delegates or the committee that certifies delegates. And I hope you have your discipline because I'm going to go straight from the discipline on page 140, our organization. After the service in which the Holy Communion is observed, the conference will convene for the roll call and temporary organization. And we'll get a temporary secretary, staff will be elected, and the appointment of the committee. I want you to listen carefully. Credentials consisting of 1 lay and 1 clerical delegate from each annual conference will be announced by the senior bishop. The roll of delegates elected to the General Conference from the various regions should be called at the opening session. The procedure for calling the roll will be as follows. A designated person by a bishop from each region will stand and read the roll call of the clergy, and another will read the roll call of the lay. And what we're doing is certifying these persons have been duly elected and their credentials have been signed by the secretary of the annual conference and presented to the general conference. So this is the way we actually certify the delegates. And the Committee on Credentials shall meet as expeditiously as possible to determine the eligibility of all the delegates certified to the General Conference. It will report to the General Conference after we hear the reading of the Episcopal address. Now that's our order, and that's the order that we should follow. And that's our organizational procedure before we get to a quorum. And it's on page 340 of your discipline. Upon certification by the Committee on Credentials that at least a majority of the elected delegates are duly elected and present in accordance with the provisions of the discipline, the General Conference should then perfect a permanent organization by electing a permanent secretary, assistant to the secretary, and other staff as needed. Adopt its rules and procedures and appoint the standing committees and special committees. That's the organizational structure that we should be following. The General Conference will then establish its time of meeting and adjournment for each day with the recommendations of the Committee on Programs and hold special programs and service at its discretion. The time limit and order of the day may be changed at the discretion of the General Conference. So you have the authority. If we feel like we're getting close to the end of the General Conference, we haven't heard all the reports, we haven't done the business, at the discretion of the General Conference, you may change that order for that day. And that order really comes when the steering committee makes their report. We don't need to have a whole lot of fanfare before we do the business of the General Conference so that we are not running out of time before we hear the reports from the general offices and we hear the reports from the bishop. So let's make sure we know that. And if we want to say to the steering committee, we would like to change the order for the day. Now, once we've had the credentials report and the certification of the delegates, then the next thing, we've established a quorum. So I'll just go straight to the outline and then we'll do individually the report. So the outline will be the certification of delegates, establishment of a quorum. I believe I've been told that we have 754 delegates at this General Conference. Now, what's half plus one of that number? Somebody calculate that and share. Half of 754 divided by 2 plus 1. What would the number be?
378.
378.
What are you saying? What did you say?
378.
All time, we must have 378 people on the floor, or we cannot conduct business. That's because we lost our quorum. You can't start off with a quorum, and as the meeting goes on, we lose the quorum. That will be the purpose of our leaders of each of these regions and annual conference to constantly monitor your delegation to make sure your number isn't going down. Now, generally on the last day, we have a lot of important business to do that we haven't done. That's why it's so important that when you see time is running out, you direct the steering committee by amending what they put forth that day. So you say to the steering committee, we haven't heard the treasury report, we haven't heard the budget, move that we amend. Because sometimes when people get ready to leave on Friday, we don't have a quorum. And if you don't have a quorum, all you can do is announcements. You cannot conduct a business, okay? So you looked at your outline. So we're going to go to the next page, please. Next slide, please. So next slide. So we've heard how the credentials makes their report. And actually, every time I read the discipline, and I read it quite frequently, I'll make another point. It's like reading the Bible. It's something that you didn't get, but when you read it that next time, you got it. Because I didn't realize that it came right after the Episcopal address, because after the Episcopal address, half of us are leaving the room. And in our discipline, it said after the Episcopal address, it's when the credentials committee will actually meet and report to the General Conference, and we do our permanent organization. So that's critical. So the credentials report will have the date, it'll be the organization, the location, and then the credentials committee certifies that the following delegates and officers have been duly elected or appointed and are entitled to be seated in the assembly. Now, I think Georgia may have 106 delegates. we may have 20 alternates. So the leader of that delegation will certify to the General Conference that these delegates have been certified and the alternates have been certified. So you would know the total strength of that region. Now, as you hear the numbers for our different regions, why don't you record them? And that way you'll know how many people are actually there. Now, we have delegates that are not present, then we're going to replace them with an alternate, and we're going to notify the bishop so they can be legally, and it comes before the General Conference, and we make a motion that that person be seated or those persons be seated so that at all times we will have a quorum and the strength of the conversation. And for 7:54, when we hear that roll call, and let's say Georgia North, they count our numbers, we write it down. And then we count out another state. So then when we get through, we should total up that number of 754. Okay, next slide, please. All right. And the Credentials Committee will have a chair and their members. Now, I'm going to talk about this a little later on. But by now, every delegate should have received a letter showing who is on what standing committee. You should all have that in hand. So I can go to the list and read who's on what committee from Georgia North or from the 6th Episcopal District, really. It's the whole district. So that if you want to go to a room, a standing committee room, and you want to ask a question, first check with your representative on the standing committee. And we'll talk a little bit more about standing committees. So I hope all of you have gotten communication, or you will get communication before we get to Dallas, of who is on what standing committee. And I made this a little out of order, but let me say, from the standing committee, from the General Conference delegates will be where we get our connection board, and we talk about that later. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the way you want to adopt a report. You're going to say, Madam or Mr. Chairman, I move the adoption of the Credentials Committee report. After adoption by the Assembly, the listed delegates are officially certified and seated with voting privileges. Now, there have been some challenges to the delegation to the Judicial Council prior to us meeting in Dallas. And I believe that those regions that had to do it over have done so, and their names have been submitted as duly elected officials. But the point here is that if you don't think the delegation was elected correctly, that this one does allow for you to challenge that, because it does say the person presiding over the delegates for election shall not interfere with the election. And I think one thing we need to remember, when we take our discipline, it's not to be used as a weapon against someone, or because we got mad, now we're going to bring the discipline. It's our governing document. But we need to use all the time, not just when you are opposed to something, but it is your guide. And when we're not following the guide, that's when you need to speak. And that's why you need to use the discipline. I hear a number of some, I guess more pastors and elders say, well, they brought the discipline tonight. They want to fuss about something. And you need to just pleasantly say the laws of the church that we vote on every 4 years. Okay, next slide. Okay, we've done that one. Next slide. We talked about a quorum. I want you to remember that a quorum is necessary to conduct business. I can't talk about that enough. A quorum is necessary to conduct business, and when we don't have a quorum, we cannot conduct business. I emphasized earlier, when the motion is called for, members should not question, say question. When the chair calls for the question, the chair is really saying, are you ready to vote? Have you completed your debate? That's what he's saying or she's saying. So with hearing nothing, hearing no opposition before you to vote on. If the minutes were given to you prior, which in this case they may not be, but in a smaller setting, you may have gotten some minutes at your local church or at one of your board meetings, so that if they're sent by email, they don't have to be read. Members should never say, I make a motion. The correct motion is always, I move. Next slide, please. When the motion is called for, I think that's 50. Next slide. I think also when we have a motion and there's a question, you may ask the chairman, is this a majority vote or 2/3 vote? So that you would know if it passes. Some motions are majority, some are 2/3. All
I need
responses
excuse me. Let
that
me
you
mute the
can.
phones.
It's like curbside. It's so funny. I'm listening to this woman on uh-oh. Hold on.
We
Okay,
hear you. You need to mute, please.
we muted. Thank you.
Thank you. In all cases, debates use the terminology the first speaker or the previous speaker. When I went to my first general conference, I've learned since, I couldn't understand how the chair with 800 people in the room could say, I recognize Jack Jones at microphone 4. I recognize Susan Smith at microphone. You know these people. I didn't know all those names because I used to go to the NEA, National Education Association. We had 15,000 delegates on the floor. But I since learned because some of those people were repeat delegates, as I am, and only 5 or 6 people go to the microphone, it's not hard to remember their name. So I think I heard Bishop Lakey say at the last session, this is your meeting. You control the meeting. Go to the microphone and debate and ask questions. It shouldn't just be 5 or 6 people going. So that was how they knew their names. I know that now. And in most cases, we recognize the person at the queue, they're going to have a name, but we don't really want to personalize names because we don't want to get into favoritism. So I recognize the speaker. I recognize the previous speaker. If if there's just a small number there, that's the language you want to use. When we get ready to close the meeting, there should be a motion to adjourn to close the meeting. It requires a second, but it's a motion to interrupt a speaker who has the floor. You can't interrupt a person because you want to leave. But when they finish, then you can speak, and it requires a majority. In most instances, you'll hear a loud sound of ah, so the chair kind of rules that they heard enough voices. But really, it requires a majority because people may want to stay a little longer and get through with the meeting and not end. Okay, next slide.
Okay.
All right, next slide. Now, motions that govern the meeting. Next slide. I'm being repetitive so you don't forget it. So move is not a motion. Motion has to be stated. Do not say question when the chair says, are you ready for the question? The question is the motion. Call for the previous question. Sometimes the debate goes on too long. You say, why don't they just sit down and be quiet? Which is incorrect because they have the right to come to the mic and come to and voice. But when you get tired, you just go to the mic and say, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, I call for the previous question. The previous question is the motion that we're getting ready to vote on. It ends debate. Now, last time I had to speak because when the chair had called for the previous question to end debate, then they just really went to the motion. But we were just ending the debate. And it takes 2/3 to end the debate. If you don't get a 2/3 vote, the debate continues. If the two-third vote passes, now the chair can go to the main motion. So be aware of that. Closing debate is not calling for the motion. Closing debate is just that, in the debate, calling for the previous question, 2/3 vote, it ends debate. Is that clear? Okay, next. Next slide, please. Next. Now, I talked about early, motions that come out of committee, it doesn't require a second because it meant that somebody else wanted to hear because they discussed it in the committee. Okay, I think you went a little bit. Go back to the other one.
Okay.
Go back to the previous slide.
Is that it?
Okay. Although customary, like for nominations, I want to speak to you about nominations because we may have some nominations in the standing committee for the chair. There may be more than one person who wants to be the chair. So the first person who gets in the room can actually call the meeting to order. And then you establish your permanent offices. But when you are doing your nominations do not require a second. We do that at home. I know we do. And you can nominate yourself. It is Robert's Rule of Order. Because sometimes we say, nominate me, nominate me. And if they don't nominate you, you may get upset. But you can legally, and according to Robert's Rule of Order, nominate yourself. Although customary that we just say any more nomination, we do it 3 times. It is not necessary. When the chair notices that there are no other nomination, the chair just entertains a motion to close the nomination. Hearing no other nomination, the chair closes the nomination. Now you can also reopen nominations. It's not final, it's not permanent, according to Robert's rule, but rarely is it done. Okay, next, please. Next slide, please. There are some motions that can interrupt the speaker. We would go back. I don't know why it's moving so fast tonight.
How's that?
Okay, in this, we can take a closer look at some of the motions that can interrupt the speaker rather than having to wait to be recognized. That means you don't have to go to the queue and have the chair call your name. You can just go to the microphone and interrupt the speaker. These motions do not require a second, nor are they debatable. In some cases, the chair of the meeting decides what action is taken next. And for a point of inquiry, you may go, Mr. Chairman, I think we're off of the agenda. Where are we? Because sometimes we do get lost in the meeting, and you've heard the agenda at the beginning of the meeting with the steering committee, and now you don't know where we are. In other situations, a majority or 2/3 vote decide what happens. You want to call the chair back to the order of the day. All right, next slide. Next slide. Okay, how to accomplish what you want to do in a meeting. First of all, main motions, and we can amend them. They can be secondary, subsidiary motions. They can be privileged motions. But after recognition, you can make a main motion. Do not speak out of turn. Get recognized by the chair. And after you hear the motion, you may say, I like part of that motion, but I don't like all of it. I want to amend that motion. So you might want to amend it by doing this way. After recognition, Madam Chairman, I move that the motion be amended by adding the following words. Maybe you want to add some words to that amendment. Or you may say, Madam Chairman, I move the motion be amended by striking the following words. Or you can say, after recognition, Madam Chairman, I move that the motion be amended by striking out the following words and adding in their place the following words. So you see the different ways you can amend the motion. And first of all, you want to amend it, but now you have to see if the delegation wants to amend it. So first, you can speak to your reasons for why you want to do that. And then you've got it, you've made your motion, you've got a second, and the chair entertains a motion on your amendment. If it passes, then the motion is amended by what you put in or took out or added. If the motion fails, then we're back to the main motion just as it was presented. Okay? Next page, please. Next. Okay, sometimes you say this is a good motion, but it requires a little bit more discussion and investigation. I would like to refer that motion to the appropriate committee. Sometimes the chair will entertain you propose moving it. Like if it involves a financial matter, they may automatically say, we're going to refer your motion to the committee on finance. And that would be the place for you to discuss that motion. I move that the question be referred to a committee, or you can also create a committee made up of these members to look at that motion. You can refer it. Postpone definitely. You want the membership to have more time to consider the question under discussion, and you want to postpone it to a definite time or day and have it come up for further consideration. In this case, we're going to be there about a week. So you could say, I move whatever your motion is, and I would like for it a decision to be reached or the motion to come back on the floor no later than Thursday before lunch. So it doesn't just lay there and no action is taken. So you put your time and your day in your motion, and you got to follow it now. It's up to you to follow it. So after recognition, until you put your day and time in there. Next. Next.
Previous question.
Okay. We talked about that. You thought it went on too long. You can move. You can move the previous question. Next point. Next point. Point of personal privilege. I think point of personal privilege has really been abused. In a large assembly, personal privilege interrupts the speaker. You do not have to be recognized by the chair. You can go to the floor and say, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, I have a point of personal privilege. The chair should say, what is your point of privilege? What are you asking for? You said, whatever your personal privilege is. And if you notice, those personal privileges don't just impact you, they impact someone else in the room. That's why they interrupt. You may say, I smell gas. Something that is really going to affect the whole assembly. A lot of times people use personal privilege for, and that's not what it's for. Okay. The chair will decide what action to take. The chair may have an orderly or someone to go investigate, someone to go next door wherever the noise is coming, someone to check with a technician if it's something dealing with temperature. Now we can kind of be assured it's going to be cold, but if it's really unbearable, at least you made your point. All right, next question. Okay, we've just covered, it addresses a concern. You can go on, you can keep moving. Okay, it is obvious that the meeting is not following proper rules. You say point of order, point of inquiry, state your point, ask your question. Madam Chairman, we are supposed to be on the section dealing with resolutions. We have not covered resolution. We're on day 3. We're running out of time. So I rise to a point of order. Or you can simply say call for the order of the day. Order of the day puts you back on the agenda. Sometimes we let our speakers, the other persons talk too long. We might want to establish a time when the steering committee, if they present it to us that we're going to have the president of Payne College, we might want to say, Mr. Chairman, has the speaker been notified of the time that they have? You can just ask that in a nice way so we would know. And the person speaking would know. Without recognition, you say point of inquiry, state your point, ask your question is answered. Now, sometimes when we take a voice vote, the chair may rule the motion passed. And you say, I know that motion didn't pass. The no's were louder. You simply say division. It's not, I need a second, not debatable, but your vote requires a majority vote for them to count. The chair says, you've heard division. You're not going to poll the delegation to see if we have a majority of people who thinks that it was that the decision from the chair was not accurate. Call for division. So if the majority of the people want a division, we can take the vote again, and it's voted on and decided by a majority vote. Okay? Because sometimes that's kind of a little strategy that you yell louder, but you really were not the majority. Okay, next slide. Okay, next slide. Prevent a body from considering a question. You want to prevent the body from considering a question, you may interrupt the speaker. You say, I object to considering this question. A vote is taken and decided by a 2/3 vote. The question may be totally out of order because it doesn't apply to anything that we're covering at that time on the floor. They may be just trying to get something they want to get on the floor. It may be one of their resolutions, but you consider that that question is not germane to the agenda or where we are. Most motions do require you to be recognized by the chair, but we've talked about the ones that interrupt. Point of inquiry, person privilege, something dealing with the issue. You can just say those, okay? Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Next slide.
Order of precedence of motions.
Next slide. Okay, those are some motions and summary of the governing rules. I think this is the sheet that you just should bring with you. You can take it out of Robert's Rule. You can print it from Google so that you would know whether it requires a motion, a second or not, the debate on it, take it from the table. You should have that in front of you. So if you want to do one of those motions, you already know if you need a second. If you notice, there are a number of motions that do not need a second. They're not debatable, and if they need a majority vote or not. For example, to rise to a point of order, you make the motion. I need a second. You need 2/3 votes to approve it. To rise to a parliamentary inquiry. So this will be a good excuse to call for division of the House. Lately, I haven't heard that motion too much, but there are times when you do need to say that. Now, since we're using electronic voting, we're kind of clear cut now on a lot of them that motion did pass because the person in charge of the electronic voting would tell you the number and let you know the count so you would know that it did pass. All right, next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, for our standing committee action. Now, let me just say this. Well, there are some good points I'm going to share with you, and I hope you got your discipline so you can follow along with me on the standing committees. The discipline says that everyone should be assigned to a committee if there is the number works, but at no time should two people be assigned to a committee. So that gives everybody a chance to be on a committee. That's what our discipline says. Now, you may look at your standing committee list and say, see, this person's on 2 committees. Well, that's not in order with our discipline. And that may be the reason why somebody else didn't get a committee. But keep in mind that you can go to any of the standing committees that you want to. I want to share with you the resolution committee. Let me say, I've gone through, I hope all of you have your blue book. If you don't have your blue book, I think it would be in order to talk to your bishop or talk to Dr. Lewis, the publisher who mailed them out. You're supposed to get your resolutions by only before May 15th. We had to turn them in by January 31st. So there may be a few people, and hopefully before we get to the general conference, you will have your book. When you get your book, don't put it down. Put it where you can bring it to the general conference and look at it. Now, I may have a little loose screw. I remember Bishop Hart said, if you're a Christian, you got to have a little screw loose. So I might have that little screw loose. But I have gone through every one of the resolutions, and I have marked concur, non-concur, concurrence with change. You've got time to go through the book so that you are already aware of how you want to vote before we get there. Because when we get to those resolutions, they're going to be moving pretty quickly. You have the name of the person, you have their email address and their phone number. So I've called a number of people for clarity. Some I've called for let them know I support them and share my resolutions so that they can support me. I'm on 113, 116, 119. I know my pages. So I want them to support my resolutions. So make sure, you say you want to be a delegate. It's work. It's not a vacation. It's responsibility. Go through there and make sure you know who in your school district is on what committee so that you can talk to them prior, okay? I want to share with you on these standing committees that you are on. I'm going to say, on the standing committees, you have a list of them, and these are the things that the standing committee, this stands for the action of the standing committee of the General Conference to which the resolution has been referred. Now, if the committee on credentials is on page 340, the discipline also says that when you are appointed to a standing committee, you should be given a description of what that committee does. I can't tell you how many people have called me to say, now what do I do? I'm on this committee. I'm on that committee. You need to know if you are on a standing committee. I'm going to run through these real quickly. If you're on the credentials committee, if you're on the resolutions committee, in the discipline, it's page 341. Now, you're only writing down the one you're on. You don't have to write them all because you just probably legally should only be on one. Committee on Rules is on 348 and 349. Committee on the General Conference Business is on page 348. And generally, we only have one person on that committee on rules, and they recommend the operating rules of the General Conference. They budget the expenses of the conference and authorize payment for General Conference expenses. Also on page 349 of your discipline, I just hope you have your discipline with you. It said the Special Committee on General Conference Business Operations appointed should perform the following duties. These are things that you ought to do. Make a full and complete report of the source and amounts of all money collected at the General Conference. Such report should be made not later than 2 months after the close of the General Conference. Now, in this report, it includes who got a rebate for housing accommodation, how many complimentary rooms were made available, how such rooms were assigned, and all persons or entity who made the decision regarding allocation of complimentary rooms and usage of rebates. I really wonder where did we get rebates? So that was interesting to me. Such report should include the names of persons receiving funds for the General Conference and the amounts paid to each named person, including salaries, honorarium, refunds, and other compensations or consideration. Such reports should list each expenditure over $50 as a separate line. Now, that's the Committee on Rules and Procedures and Business Operations. And this report should be made no later than 2 months after 60 days after the close of the General Conference. Now, they don't really say who it's going to be made to, so I would assume it's going to be made to the bishop. What do you think? Somebody can unmute and give a statement. Does anybody have a clue? I would think as the leader of the district, that information would go. And then perhaps it would come to the delegates who were there. Okay, included on the steering committee, it's on page 348. If you're on the steering committee. Now I love this section. It says, steering committee, number 1, consider the matters of business that are coming before the general conference and recommend to the general conference an order of business for each day in accordance with the program of what we have to do. I think that if you're on the steering committee, read it. Don't just go in there and let someone else conduct it and you don't say anything. You have that right to say that. If you're on elections, you're on page 348. Now, a number of these committees are on the same page. If you're on minutes, you're on 348. If you're on legislative review, you're on 348. If you're in hospitality, you're on 348. If you're on if you're an orderly, 349. Standing Committee on Episcopacy, they have pages. Now, someone asked about why a delegate couldn't be on that committee, but look on pages 107, 109 through 109, and 344 through 345. And I would recommend you give your question that you have or want to know to the person on the standing committee from your region. That's what I'm going to do, so that your question is in the room and they can share your question. The Committee on Itineracy is on page 345. The Committee on Finance and Investments is on page 345. The Committee on Evangelism and Spiritual Life is on 346. Committee on Connectional Ministries is 346. Connectional Administration, that's where I am, 346. Boundaries, 347. And I understand that there's a resolution to move Oklahoma into Texas region, Episcopal District. So read before you get there so you understand. Committee on Ecumenical Relationships, page 280 and page 347. Now, the discipline says that if you're on a standing committee, you should be given a report describing the standing committee you're on. But if not, they're in the discipline. I've given you the page. Just look at them and see where they are. See what those committees do. Even if you aren't on that committee, be knowledgeable of the committee. All right. Now you have a code of reference here. When you hear the resolutions, if the standing committee agrees with the resolution, it will recommend concurrence or they agree. Hereby, with it, asking thereby that the general conference approve the resolution. You don't have to approve it because they say concurrence, but the reason we put standing committees, or the reason we have resolutions in a committee is so that the committee can see, are they in line with our mission? Do they enhance our discipline? Do they complete our discipline? Is the wording well thought out? You want to have a committee that goes through it a little bit so that we don't have all these long resolutions that sometimes don't concur. I'm going to tell you from the resolutions I read, I can tell a number of people have not read our discipline because some of the resolutions are already in there. They may have added a few things, but it didn't do anything to enhance it. Make sure you kind of read the resolutions and see what they're saying. I was really appreciative also that a number of the resolutions are not by delegates. They're by non-delegates, which gives me hope that people are interested in our church, even if they're not a delegate. So if they've taken the time to write one, you definitely need to read it and be prepared to vote on it. Because I always say, "Are you a delegate?" They say, "No, I'm not a delegate." So it's really interesting, nice little conversations that you can have. All right, can you slide it up just a little bit? Slide this. Okay, so non-concurrence with change. So the first one was you concur, you agree. The next one is non-concurrence with change. I would like to change this. It will recommend non-concurrence, and you're going to add your changes that you want to that resolution. And you're going to let the general conference decide if they approve of your change or not, or will they go back to how it was originally, what the resolution committee said. If a standing committee agrees with the substance of the resolution, but disagrees with some aspect of it, it may recommend concurrence with change. In other words, non-concurrence with change. Concurrence with change. So you can change it, but just because it came out of committee, you don't have to accept it. Well, I think the last thing I want to share with you is the connectional board, because you will be running for the connectional board, and that board is in operation. Those are the responses that you give at the general conference. Some of those responses will be used, some we won't because we'll be using the electronic voting. But some of them you can use yay, nay, uh, amend the motion. These are some actions that you can take while you're at the general conference or refer. Now, we can refer things beyond the general conference. I've read that you can refer them to a committee and they will probably come back to the connectional board. Now, members of the connectional board are going to be elected by the delegates of the general conference. So all of us will have a caucus within our Episcopal district where we will elect the connection board. Though that board will operate in the absence of us not having a general conference. For 3 years, they will operate. Now, some of you may not know this, but any person who's a member of the church can run for the connection board. You don't have to be a delegate to run. I've heard people say, I asked them, "Are you going to run for the the connection board?" And they say, "No, I'm not a delegate." You don't have to be a delegate. Page 196, you don't have to be a delegate. You do have to be a delegate to vote. Now, the gentleman said these delegates may come together for the election of the connection board either before or during the session of the general conference. Upon election, the names of those who were elected should be submitted to the general conference that's in session for certification. Members of the General Connection Board will be in committees by a special committee established by the General Connection Board, composed of 2 bishops, 2 general officers, and 3 members of the board. Sometimes people get elected to the connectional board and they go to the bishop and they say, "This is the committee I want to be on. Or that is the committee I want to be on." But if you read your discipline, you are assigned to a standing committee on the connection board by a special committee, which would include 2 bishops, 2 general officers, and 3 members of the board. I know I've covered a lot. I tried to stay in that hour time limit. But I want you to remember standing committees, you can go to any standing committee except the episcopacy. Prepare your questions before you go by reading the resolution that's assigned to that standing committee. So read it before you go in the room. Don't just go in there to listen, go in there to learn and to share. I think if we go through our discipline a little bit more thorough, we would understand our church better. And remember that this discipline is a guide. Wow. I want you to, if you feel like you have some gifts and graces that you want to share on a standing committee, inform your bishop that you would like to be a member of the connection board, and that you would like to have a voice. Each standing committee will meet at the time and place announced at the opening session of
Oh
the general
Lord,
conference.
bam.
Yes. And listen to this. Any member of the committee may convene the committee and ask for a temporary secretary. So get to your standing committee on time. Get there early. And then you can call the meeting together. And then after everybody gets there, you can do your permanent organization. I hope I didn't go too fast. I know we covered a lot, but I hope it will be beneficial to you. And I hope one of my resolutions is that uh, when the delegation is elected from a region, that we caucus and elect a leader from our delegation. I don't know if that will pass, but I just want to throw it out there to you. Somebody that we feel has been active within our delegation, active in our region, that will lead. We want to get somebody who really wants to be the leader and be attentive and be assisting the other persons who are delegates in their region. Are there any questions? Any questions? Be like the chair, hearing none.
There's one in chat.
Madam Chair. Oh, let me put, if I can put my hand up somewhere here.
Gloria Street?
Yes.
I really can't. Okay.
Madam Chair, I looked at I guess the program, and I saw where the meeting, the steering, the committee meetings on one day, and they got us at 9 o'clock at night after we've been in session all day. Is there a way that we can change that? Make a
Okay, go on.
To have
well, this. So you like to meet earlier, evidently.
Yes, yes. By being in session all day, listening to all these other reports and everything, and then we got to go into a meeting at night until 10 o'clock.
Well, if it comes out of the steering committee meeting, you may be able to make a motion to amend that. But if the order of the day has been so set up with the time, it may be difficult to change.
Okay.
But the steering committee brings that before you. But I do think for just a point of observation on the floor, so that it may be a change. And did you do any resolutions this year? Do you have any resolutions you're submitting?
Who, me?
There may be, if you, let me just say this about resolutions. If you did not submit a resolution and it's not in the book, you can still submit a resolution out of your caucus, out of your Episcopal district. When they call for new business, but you need to get your caucus to approve it. I'm in Georgia North. I didn't get a resolution in to the book. So when we meet, I pose the question to the bishop. I have a resolution that I would like to be submitted on the floor from the Georgia North caucus, and this is what it reads, how it reads. And if your delegation approves it, then you can present it on the floor as a resolution under new business items. Now, one may be consideration that we do the business of the conference from what time you think we start? 9, 8 o'clock, 7? So it's going to be on one end or the other. If you want to start at 7 in the morning or you want to go at 9, they're going to start at a certain time to cover the information. But if we look at the program committee and they meet before, they probably met maybe February, March, somewhere. They start the program committee meeting early. But that is a consideration to say, well, that you feel like it would be better served if we didn't meet so late. And it's an observation, it may not change, but look at the steering committee report. Does it cover the whole day? Is lunch 2 hours? Do we want to do a 1 hour lunch? Because we know this is you'll hear about it. This is a working session. You said you want to be a delegate. This is what it requires. But make sure you have your points together before you even bring it up. Because it's going to be, if that steering committee report, if they have like two choirs coming, you might want to amend that they only have one choir singing so that we can move the standing committee reports up and meet at least by 8 o'clock. You can make a motion to the back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
I see a couple of questions. One from Dr. Doss. Has this been
Okay.
sent to those who asked for a copy of the presentation?
Okay.
Dr. Doss, you're looking for a copy of this presentation? Not sure if he's on here or not.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Dr. Campbell, do you want us to send the presentation out? Your slides?
That'll be fine. I probably need to see you the page with the standing committee pages for reference. That's the only one you don't have, I think. But I have no problem with it.
Okay. As you're talking, I will go ahead and create a PDF and put it in the chat for everyone to receive. How about that? I do see a question from, let's see, Carla Lewis.
Yes, this is Carla Lewis. I'm in the 8th Episcopal District. I am with the Southeast Texas region. I'm part of the Houston District, and I was an attendee at the 2022, I was a delegate at the 2022 conference. And one thing I did notice, I submitted several resolutions. Some did pass and had changes, which was great. But I noticed that there were some resolutions, particularly one that I had submitted that was in a different standing committee and it passed. Was there any way? I mean, it was so similar. It was like the same thing. And I wondered, how did they land in different committees? Is there a way to make sure that that resolutions are screened carefully enough that they are placed in the appropriate committee and it only appears once, per se, or similar ones all appear in the same committee? If I'm not being clear, you can let me know what you mean.
I think I'm going to ask you like this, and it may not be exactly what you want to hear, but each Episcopal district has a person on the resolution committee that we submit them to, right?
Okay.
And they go through the resolutions to make sure they're in the proper order, or you get them back. So at this point, you thought your resolution should go to maybe not revisions. Where did you think it should have gone?
No, what I was just
What
saying that,
committee did it go to?
oh gosh,
What standing committee did it go to?
I honestly cannot recall at this point, but I just know that there was
Okay.
one that was similar, very similar, but it landed in a different committee. So I just wanted to make sure, are we making sure that resolutions that are similar are in the similar committee? Because one passed, one didn't, and it was just like odd that they were similar. So it's just a question of keeping the resolutions, if the people are screening them and placing them in committees, then that they are doing a very thorough job of putting ones in the, like standing committees. That was my
Okay.
only concern.
And I would ask the committee person from the eighth, if he or she had any input to where it was assigned. I think they're trying to look at the description and see where it fits. But I did
Okay.
take note of the resolution, the blue book this time, and I did take note that they have grouped together those similar resolutions.
Oh, that's good.
That they've been grouped together.
Okay. Okay.
And I
Well, that
think
just
you
happened
wanted yours. Go on, sorry.
well, so that happened in 2022, and I'm not a delegate this year. I've not secured a blue book. I hope I can get one from someone so that I can just see where I did write 2 resolutions for this year. So I wanted to see where they landed, and I think I can do that by just speaking with my elder or whoever's over our committee.
Yeah, and I think they tried to put them where it best fits in a discipline? Is it a legal revision? Is it legislative? Is it finance?
Right,
Is it
right.
connectional ministries? Where was the preponderance of the evidence in your resolution where it was placed? Where did it fit best? Okay.
Okay. So I'll check on that.
And
'Cause
that was a
I'm
good
not
question. And
to
you might, they don't ask you that when you submit the resolution, they have a guide, but you might want to do a cover letter that says, I think this resolution will fit best in this section, in this standing committee. You might want to go on and give a personal
Yep.
references to what you think.
Okay. And then the second thing, I did want to just thank you for your work today, and all the trainings that we've had, and also Dr. Duhart. They've been very, very helpful.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
And I would also thank you for sharing, because when we eat a good meal, we say, "Oh, Taste, you got to go to this restaurant." We have got to share this information because there are a number of delegates that probably didn't come and don't know the information. So please share because you care. That's my motto. Share because you care. Okay.
Miss
Any other
Campbell,
questions?
Miss Campbell, can you hear
Yes,
me? Okay, I have a resolution
I
in the book,
can.
and I have a resolution in the book,
I'm
and
sorry,
I
what?
want to know Carolyn
Yeah.
Green from Camden, Arkansas. How do I find out which committee it's in? Is it do it in the book? We're not communicating.
I
You
believe
want to
it's
find out
one.
what
I'm
you want
I'm
to repeat
Carol.
it, ma'am?
I have a
Miss
resolution.
Green, you want to repeat it?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
ma'am. I will. How do I find out
And you
which committee my resolution landed in?
look in the index of the Red Blue Book,
Yes,
and it'll
ma'am.
show you what page it's on. Look in the
Okay, I'm
index of
on.
the Blue Book, okay?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got the page and all that, but how do I know what committee, what board it lands with?
It has in it says it's assigned to the committee that's on that page.
Right.
What is your what page is it?
93.
Okay, now it should show you what committee on the side column there. You see the side column.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I see. It says
Go,
finance.
you
Finance.
see it at the top.
Yes, ma'am. It says finance.
Uh-huh. And then we as delegates, you can decide when I look at your resolution, then I mark in that little box how I'm gonna vote for it. You see, I can concur or
Yes,
concur or
ma'am.
change. You see the little voting. So that's what you
Yes,
should
ma'am.
do for each one. Thank you for your question. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now tell me what page down so I can look at it and see if I marked yours. All right. I think I did them all. But somebody got a question. You on 93?
93.
All right, Calvin Green, I got you. Okay.
Dr. Campbell, I have a question.
Okay.
If the committee votes concurrent with change and it's just a change of wording, are we voting to accept the change and then voting on that said change?
Yes.
Or if we
First you
say
vote.
nay, it's just dead, period?
Now, first you say you're going to vote on the amendment to the resolution. Whatever the change was, you're going to vote on that. And if the delegation votes yay or nay, votes for it, then it will go into the original resolution, the main motion. That change will go in.
And then we would vote
Okay.
on that.
But if they vote no, you can, yeah. If they vote no, you can get up and speak against it. They're just making a recommendation for our vote, but you can stand up and have a stronger statement to support your resolution.
Okay. I just always wondered that. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Dr. Campbell and everyone, I am putting in the chat the link for you to download this presentation. And here's the link to today's parliamentary procedure training. Handout. And I put it in the chat.
Okay.
And that is your presentation. Now, also, I am recording this session, and I'm going to send it out. I'll place it somewhere, probably on our YouTube channel, this session, so everyone can review it, rather than for me to try to send out a Zoom and a passcode, because I don't want it ended up in
I understand.
hands. Yes. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and send that announcement out regarding that. And I'll have that by tomorrow. But in the chat, you should have that document.
I think I saw a question that said something about if the committee votes against your resolution. You can also ask for a rationale for their decision.
Hey,
what's wrong? Because they may not voluntarily tell you. You can say, well, what was the I'm the maker of that resolution, and I would like to know why did the committee vote non-concurrence? And you may be able to address their issue for them voting non-concurrent.
Dr. Campbell? You went mute. Can you unmute Dr. Campbell?
I can.
There you
I
go.
want to say that I was looking at the description for each of our general secretaries and look at some of the candidates. I hope you all look at skill sets. I'm not promoting anyone, but I think skill sets are important. But I'm just going to lift up Dr. Duhart's description of her job. It is so detailed. If someone runs against her or any other candidate, look at what they have to do and question these candidates. I don't know if they can do it. I've gone through the thing, same thing with the bishops. Are you willing to and those we need to put some accountability, and then we come back, we need to say, did you go? Because that's in every church in your Episcopal district. So we're voting for skill sets and other things when we vote. And I think we need to really take note of that. And there is a committee that's under Bishop Haynes on faith and order and social concerns, dealing with the thing majority of one race. Faith and order and faith and social concerns. When they have a committee meeting, you need to ask some questions about that also, because we do have that, and we have had a meeting of the different denominations. But I want us to work on our follow up. I will follow up and I will follow through, because one meeting just won't do it. So think about that too, as we look at the General Conference dealing with the issues and the business, especially how it relates to human concerns. Okay, thank you. Is there another question? Is there another question?
Miss Campbell. Miss Campbell.
Who's speaking, please?
Carolyn Green again.
Okay, Miss Green. Let's see, you're gonna
Can
be
I?
on that microphone. You better be on that microphone. Come on, Miss Green.
As an alternate, can I sit? I know you can't sit in on the Episcopal, but you can sit in on any others.
Any other one you can visit, any of them you want to. You can leave one and go to another one. And as an alternate, you will get all the material that the delegates get at the General Conference. Everything we get, you should get.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
And know
ma'am.
what order you were elected in. I have other stuff, but I just can do it all. Know what order you were elected in. So when they have to seat someone, if you're the first alternate, they should come get you first.
Okay. Do they
Because
announce that on the floor?
sometimes there's a little trick with that too, huh?
Do they announce that
Excuse
on the
me.
floor?
No, they will announce what you would talk to the leader of your delegation. You ought to
Okay.
know by now which alternate are you, first alternate, second alternate, third alternate. But if they have to seat you, then it will be presented to the general conference and approved that you are seated and the person you are replacing and for what time period.
Okay,
Okay?
because I haven't seen anything on all. I've gotten a lot of emails and all that, but I haven't seen anything
On
on
what?
that.
On what? On
Uh,
alternates?
what? Yes, ma'am.
Well, you need to ask your bishop or ask the leader of your delegation. They have a list of the alternates, so they'll know
Okay.
who to come get. And you'll have a special place to be seated as well.
Okay.
Okay? Good questions, and thank you. And
Huh.
and you can go around and campaign for people, and you can go to standing committee meetings, and you could text a question to your delegate if they haven't asked the question you want to ask. We got these phones. Text the question and see what they ask for you. Okay. Thank you.
General Conference YAP
Any,
app and the voting information is here. I'm putting in the
okay.
link in the uh, hold on, in the chat. It'll be sent out as well. All of these links will be sent out as well. Dr. Campbell, before we go, I
And
want
maybe we
to
can also. Okay.
I was going to say, I want to make sure we acknowledge our presiding bishop of the Second Episcopal District, Bishop Denise Sanders Modest. She has been on this call this session. Thank you, Bishop Andrews Modest.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is,
Thank you,
is
Dr.
your
Campbell,
chair
and thank
here?
you, Dr. Duhart.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Hope it was informative for you as well.
It was.
Thank you so much.
Do
Is
I
our
see
chairman on
membership?
here, Dr.
I don't
Bishop
see.
Walker?
Um, I'm sure he's tied up. Not like that, but
Probably
I
so
mean
many meetings going on.
busy. And I was looking for Bishop Thomas, and I didn't see him earlier. They may be tied up in meetings. I know there's a lot going on.
One thing I want to add, maybe we can ask in our caucus meetings, who are the persons on the special committee to assign persons to the standing committee? Who are they? So we would know, just know, have as a point of reference, who are the two bishops. I really haven't ever known that because this one says that the connection of lay leader is automatically on the standing committee for the lay council. But I have never known them. I have not that it didn't happen, but I would like to know, and that's on page 198, section 3, who the committee members are on that connection board, who we assigning you to committees. Okay. And if you get elected to the connection board, you may be able to speak to one of those persons because you may have a preference. But on page 198, it does, section 3, it does say how those persons will be assigned.
Good
Okay.
evening, Dr. Crittenden. You're from Ghana. I know it's late for you, 128. Thank you, my sister, for being here. When we get a copy
Thank
of this
you.
presentation, it will be emailed out tomorrow. Look for the announcement from CME Church Communications. It's too rough to try to send individuals these, the documentation. So look for announcement regarding the video
Right.
recording as well as the links to the presentations. Okay, that will be, and it was also in the chat in case anyone was looking at it. Are there any other questions, Dr. Campbell?
Well, I just want to have a comment. Several of the resolutions spoke to having CIT credits, continuing education credits, for lay persons before they can be confirmed as an officer, that is in the discipline. So evidently for that particular person, it's not happening. But the discipline says that no officer should be confirmed at the local church unless they've had the training, and that we have a global training in the sixth, but that the presiding elder should provide the training material. So at your quarterly conference, you need to raise the question, have these persons been trained? And generally it's left upon the presiding elder if there's no other material. Sometimes it's done at a CTI like we do in Georgia, but that I saw several resolutions saying that, like it's not being done. So please note that it should be done, even if you are a steward or a stewardess, you want to be trained. It's something new every year. We are lifelong learners. So it's not a criticism, it's an observation. There's always something we can learn. And with all these books out here, there's no reason why we don't have a resource. So that was one thing. But that's all I want to say. Just remember those points. If I hear anybody go to the mic and say, I make a motion, I'm going to scream. If I hear somebody say, I so move, I'm going to scream. I want you to remember those things that are important. If I hear somebody say question, I'm going to scream. They're going to say, that was Dr. Campbell screaming over there. You can scream with me. Those are the ones that are just fragrant that I hear all the time. So let's just make sure that we follow the rules. Now that to know better is not always to do better. We know a lot that we don't do, don't we? But hopefully this time we will. And I appreciate everybody for being on the call. And if you have a particular question, Dr. Duhar, you may put my number in the chat, but you won't get me unless you call probably at 11 or 12 because I am a night person, not morning.
You want to get, never mind, I'll put it in there.
It's on the back of the Christian Index anyway. So if you don't
It
get it, it's on the
is.
back of the Christian Index.
It is.
So you can just call me for a particular question because we might not have touched on everybody because I see some people nodding their head and I think they had a question, but they didn't raise.
I see one,
But don't be
Jeremiah Burton. Is he still on?
okay.
Yes, I'm still on.
Okay, do you want to ask your question?
Sure. I just wanted to get clarification on something you mentioned. I am 8th Episcopal District, Southeast Texas region. Uh, and you mentioned taking a look at the resolutions and preliminarily checking off, how you intend to vote. I just wanted to make sure I was clear that since this will be my first general conference as a delegate, that was appropriate to do that ahead of time and not wait for, discussion within the actual standing committee.
It's most appropriate because when you get to the conference, you won't have time probably. You're going to be tired, like Ms. Green said, you won't have time to go through that book. But that's why they have that little box there so you can already decide. And I made some little notes where I had non-concurrence. And I actually called the people to just kind of get a clarification on it, So sometimes when you debates change your mind one way or the other. That's why we have
Sure.
debate. But that's a very good point. Go on and, you can do 5 or 6 a day and just get them all where you want to know. And then the person's name is there if you want to call and get more clarification. I think if you're going to support their motion or their resolution, they will be most appreciative because everybody I've called said I'm the only one calling. Wow.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And what's your name again, please?
I'm Reverend Jeremiah Burton out of the 8th Episcopal District.
And what's your district?
I'm in the Houston District.
Reverend Burton?
I'm in the Houston
Okay, you're in the
District.
8th. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. 8th Episcopal District, Southeast Texas region.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And you got a resolution in the book as well?
No,
Do
I'm
you
on a
have
standing
resolution in
committee.
there?
I do not. I'm on a standing committee, so I'll be reviewing many of the resolutions. I'm a
Okay.
delegate.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wendy Boyd, you can get the book of catechism from the Department of Publications. You can go online at the cmechurch.org and go to the departments. I'll put it in the link for you. How about that? Make it
And
easy.
Christian education has it as well.
Yes, Christian education. It has all of the books for purchase.
It's an excellent primer for new members for if you want to do your new member workshop. An excellent book for that,
All right,
Excellent.
let's go to Department of Publications. I'll put the link. And
it's only $3, so you can get about 10 of them. I try to buy them in bucks for new members.
Okay, so here's in the chat, I'm
All right.
putting the departments under the on the website there, and then I will put the connectional directory is there with phone numbers, so you'll find Dr. Campbell's number there as well.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'll
I'm
put
doing
that in the
presentation,
announcement.
so I probably already got it.
Yes, I'll include that in there tomorrow. All right. Is there anything else that we need to discuss?
I want to just make another comment. Bishop Marvin Frank Thomas is the bishop for the lay department, and at our lay institute, he informed me that we would have a paid parliamentarian at this general conference because you really want to get somebody who is not a delegate. So first of all, they can be involved in the meeting and they won't be partial to anyone. And I was so when you see him, thank him for that. I was really appreciative of that. And I thank you, Dr. Duhar, for inviting me to do this. I appreciate you as well. Thank you. I'm finished.
You're welcome. You're
Beverly
welcome.
Smith has her hand up.
Yes, I was just wondering, is it appropriate to ask somebody after a vote, ask them how come they voted the way they did?
You talking about a member of the delegation?
Yes.
I think our votes are probably going to be private.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're someone you know well, they may not mind, telling you. But if we do it electronically, they're probably private, and that's just a matter. We are a theocracy and a democracy. Theocracy is guided by the Lord, democratic guided by the rules. So that's going to be a judgment call on you to find out. But generally, when we hear enough debate, you may hear enough debate if we really debate as to why that person voted like that. The debate may have gone that way, that it was against the motion for various reasons. Okay?
Thank you. Great presentation.
That was a good
Dr.
question,
Campbell.
too. Thank you. There are no bad questions, really. The worst thing is just silence. The silence usually yields consent. So I'm hoping we have some goodness at that general conference. I'm looking at Gloria Street. I know I can count on her.
Dr. Campbell?
Yeah.
Linda Langston from the Arizona, New Mexico region, 9th Episcopal District. My question is, I'm so sorry, but my computer was going in and out, and I did not hear the announcement, what you said about Bishop Thomas Marvin.
I said it. Okay. I said at the Lay Institute, he said that I guess the College of Bishops of the Cabinet had voted that they would have a paid parliamentarian at the General Conference. And I probably had this in my note. I want us to know that a parliamentarian does not ever rule. The parliamentarian advises. The ruling always comes from the chair. So the chair should never say the parliamentarian has said we should do this. No, you are the chair. You take it under advisement. And the parliamentarian should really do it discreetly so that the chair looks good, not the parliamentarian. But if there's a question or debate, after the chair hears it, then they can decide whether they want to go with the parliamentarian or their own decision.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Okay.
I do have one question. I know we have over 200 people on this line tonight, and I'm looking at my blue book of resolutions. I wanted to know how many people, I know Ms. Green have hers and you have your resolutions in the book, names of other people that may be in the resolution book just for reference, for reading, although reading the resolutions by name.
The question is,
Who's
how many people
online?
on this call have a resolution?
Yes, yeah, who's on the call on this line tonight have resolutions in the book?
I, Carla Lewis,
Well, I
have two
think if you,
resolutions in the book, but I don't know which committees fully.
Oh, Carla Lewis. I can just look at the name, Carla Lewis. Okay.
Yes, there are two. Thank you.
Patricia Jones, page 65.
Okay.
Tiffany Thompson says she has one resolution. Okay, now 2026-03-22. It's in the chat. Thanks,
Okay.
Tiffany.
Yes.
I, Carolyn Green, have one.
Good evening. This is Reverend Freeman McKendra from the East Tennessee region. There's a resolution that I co-wrote with Reverend Ryan Davis from Arkansas.
Thank you. Before this night is over, I do want to recognize some of our connectional officers who are also on here. Jamia Grace, who is president of the Connectional Young Adult Ministry.
Thank you,
thank
Dr.
you,
Duhart. Thank you, Dr. Campbell.
thank you, Jamia, my good friend. I love those young adults.
They be on it.
I
Let's see.
know, they help me out.
Karen. Okay. I'm just going through the list here and just see if I see if it's other bishops on. Bishop Walker. Did he?
Dr. Campbell, could you, while Dr. Duhart is going through the list, are you able to help persons understand how to state the number of their resolution? And also for everyone who has received their blue book, if you received it digitally, the numbers are off starting at a certain page versus the one that is printed. So I just wanted to raise that.
That's a good point. And probably when they go to they look at the standing committee that has been referenced to, they could make that announcement at the general conference for information so people will know. I don't think a lot. I'm really amazed that so many people not having their book. I don't know what has happened, but there are a number.
I can share my book of resolutions right now. Sister Tiffany, you indicated something in here in the book of resolutions. They're off.
So if you have it digitally, the
Here
numbers are spot on with what's in the index. However, if you have the blue book printed, it gets off at about page like 90 something, and the numbers are off.
Okay, so beginning with donate remaining funds to colleges and SRY.
Don't hold
90.
me to it exactly, but it does get off somewhere.
Oh, I'm
in
showing
90.
on my screen. Do you see it?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let me just let me increase it. I know it's small.
Okay.
God knows it's
Dr.
small.
Duhart.
Yes.
This is Daruth Boyd, the Connectional Usher President. I submitted 4 resolutions, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
What's your name again?
Daruth Boyd.
Okay.
So that's the book of resolutions. And see how many pages? I think it's
161.
161. And the index begins on page 4.
Dr. Duhart, this is Dr. Aaron Donald, the 7th Episcopal District, New York, Washington region.
Hi, Dr. Donald.
How you doing? I submitted 4, but I had 1 to go in twice. So there's some duplicates in there, and the other 2 didn't make it for some reason, and they're supposed to be working on that. And so I don't know how that's going to work out. Sound like I might have to do it from the floor, but I hope not. But there are some duplicates in there.
In the book of resolutions.
Yes. They put one of mine in there twice and not the other ones.
Oh.
Who's speaking right now? What's your name, sir?
Dr. Donnelly, Aaron Donnelly.
Yes, Dr.
You
Aaron
might do
Dunn.
better than
Let me see if I
you
can do a
might do better
find.
than have it come out of your caucus when you have your delegation meeting. That's the strongest point to get a resolution on the floor. And your rationale is very good because it was left out. So I think if you would address it when you have your, what, you're in the seventh,
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would do better when in the seventh, when you have that meeting, that you want to introduce your two resolutions that were left out when they call for new business and get your delegation to support it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr.
Thank you.
Donnelly, I see you're on page 80. I see you on page 85 because I'm doing a find.
Mm-hmm.
I
Those are the
see
two. It's the same one, right?
86, and that's it. So you're in 3. If you go to your index, um,
But I think they're duplicates if you look at them.
I'm going to see it just a second. 85, credit checks for handling assets, credit check on unauthorized church accounts, and 86, credit check on authorized church accounts.
There's a duplicate right there.
Oh, wait, 85, 80. Oh, wait, 80, licensing and bonding. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So 80, 85, and 86. These are not the same.
You might have
And
made a correction and they might have corrected it already then. I appreciate
okay,
it.
And
all
you
right.
still have one missing because you say you had four.
Yeah, there's one missing.
80,
Yes, just bring
85,
it up at your
80.
delegation meeting with Bishop Reddick. I mean Bishop Walker.
It should be one on indemnification clause dealing with insurance and titles. That's the one that got left out.
And dimmed. Okay.
And
Maybe
that's
if
the
I
main.
spelled it right. All right. That's so small. Okay, let's see. No, I don't see it. I just put yeah, I don't see it in here. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't forget,
Anything
bring it up
else
at
while
your
I'm here?
delegation.
Dr. Duhart and Dr. Campbell, Jamia Savelle, Grace, Carolina region, point of personal privilege, if I may. Um, Dr. Campbell, thank you so much for this session. I just wanted to let everybody know the Connection of Young Adult Ministry will be doing a live via Facebook session tomorrow, Road to General Conference. Are you in the queue? If you haven't been aware, there are a lot of new delegates and a lot of first-time young adult delegates um, to this general conference. And so we want to make sure that we continue training as we lead up to that. So we will be hosting a session tomorrow as well, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you will follow our Facebook page, The Connection of Young Adult Ministry, we look forward to seeing everyone. We look forward to the questions. A lot of stuff has already been said, but we'll be presenting it from a young adult perspective and giving the young adults who will be first time delegates, alternates, or just attendees a chance to get their questions out the way. I know a lot of us, some of them are nervous and not really sure what is to be expected. And so we're going to break down what you need to do before you get there and realistically what this is going to look like once we arrive in Dallas. So again, join the Connection of Young Adult Ministry tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Facebook, the Connection of Young Adult Ministry page.
Sister Grace, you want me to send an announcement out for you tomorrow?
Oh, please. You want me I can send you the flyer.
Please. Thank you.
No, thank you.
What was the Zoom link and contact?
The Zoom link will be just for us, for the participants, and then everybody else will join via Facebook.
Okay. Hey, you better put me on there.
That Campbell, don't threaten me with a good time.
Hey, you better. I can put some points in there. You let me know. I'll add some points to you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Duhart,
My
this is Reverend
pleasure.
McKendra again. Are you able to drop your digital copy of the Blue Book into the chat? You're on mute, Dr. Duhart. That may be the Lord.
Man, inspiring personal story. Born with spina bifida, had to go through tons of surgeries as a kid, becomes a wheelchair, a gold medal winner for Team USA basketball. Really just a good and a decent.
Good evening. Good evening. This is Dr. Crittenden from the 10th Episcopal District. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I do.
Okay. I just wanted two quick things. I wanted to thank the two of you for this outstanding presentation. We're 5 hours ahead of you, so I'm sitting here struggling. I'd like to know if should I struggle for a few more minutes, or will there be grace extended to me to allow me to leave the meeting? I don't want to miss anything that's important that I need to have. I have my documentation, and is there anything else that I should know before I just say goodnight to everyone?
Yeah, I think you're good. And don't forget, as a lay leader, I'm always available to come to your lay meetings and do little seminars and workshops on parliamentary procedure, leadership. So utilize your lay members as your lay officers as well, even beyond the general conference. Okay.
Dr. Campbell, while we have
Yes.
Dr. Crittenden on, I know you brought up a couple weeks ago about the African delegation